Okay, now we're going to learn how to do a slideshow. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to a new project. And we're going to set this to go to the slideshow folder that we downloaded that had the pictures in it, and we set up on our hard drive. So downloads. Go down to slideshow. And I'm going to select that as the folder. I'm going to call this slideshow practice. I'm going to create it. And we're going to go to Essentials and reset Essentials. Okay, now we're going to go in and make some changes here in the preferences. If you're on Mac, you click on the words Premiere Pro for that. You're going to go to Timeline. We're going to make sure that Set Focus of the Timeline is checked, Snap Playhead is checked. We're going to set Video Default Transition to 10 frames, Audio Default Transition to 3 seconds. So let's make that 3.00 seconds. Still image duration to 5 seconds, so it's 5.00 seconds. And then we're going to come here to Media, and we're going to do default media. We're not going to do any default media scaling. So we're going to go OK. Then we're going to set up a sequence. If we don't have anything in here, if we don't see this little folded up thing, we may have to move this around to be able to see if it's closed off like that. We can bring it back. Click on this and say New Sequence. And we're going to choose the default, which is Digital SLR 1080p, and pick the 1080p 30 frames a second. And we're going to name this one Your Name _ slideshow. And say OK. And then we're going to import in the music, so file import. And there's the Popstar music. Then we're going to import in the folder that has all of the photos. And we're going to go ahead and import the presets. So if we go up here to the presets that we already have, let's go to Effects. Okay. And let's make sure we have these presets here. Let's go back here. And we have the presets there. So we're going to go to our effects here. And I want to take the current presets and just delete them one at a time. Okay, and then we're going to have to import the other ones one at a time. So let's import the presets. This is the left, right. The right, left. The zoom in. And the zoom out. Okay, now let's go back to the project window. Now we're going to flip down open up our photos here, and we have 1 through 12. So we're going to click on, we've already named them. Okay, so we're going to click on this and hold down Shift and drag this all down to the V1 track. Okay, and hit the backslash key, and then we're going to click on Properties here. And they're all 1920 1080. So we're just going to check that they're all that. What we should have done before we imported it in here. They're all 1920 1080, so that's good. Okay, so now we're going to come down here and park the playhead at the very end and hit the up arrow key once so it snaps to the end, and we're going to check the time. It's 59:18, so we need to change that. We need to make it be at least a minute. So we're going to select them all, and we're going to right click. We're going to go to speed duration. We're going to check the box that tells them to ripple edit. Otherwise, when you make one larger, they will not all slide down to accommodate for that. So I type 5.00 and click OK. And now if you move this, the same thing, put it out here and hit the back up arrow key once. Now it's 1 minute and 2 frames long. So let's save, Command S. Okay. So now what we're going to do here is we're going to apply the effects to the so we're going to go to our effects window, and we're going to select every other clip by holding down Shift. And we're going to go get the zoom in and drop it there. Then we're going to select off of it, so nothing selected, and select the second one, and then hold down Shift. And we're going to go get zoom out and drop that on there. Then we're going to click off and save, Command S or Control S, and then we're going to lock this track. Okay, now we're going to go back to the slideshow over here. We can close these up because we don't need this anymore. We've got that done. And we're going to, well, actually, we're going to take this down so we can see the names of each one of them. So we're going to go get the text tool. We're going to turn on the V2 track and make sure this is up on V2. And we're going to park inside the first picture and get the text tool. And this is going to be, we're turn on our title safe. If you don't have the title safe, you can click plus here, find it, drag it down there, and then click OK. And this will not output, so if you forget to turn it off, it's not a big deal. So let's click here. Gateway to the future. Okay. And then we're going to slide this all the way to the beginning and then take it all the way to the very end. So it's the same. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to go to our Essential Graphics panel, and we're going to double click it here so it selects the whole thing. We're going to make some changes to the font. So this just happens to be Myriad Pro, that's fine. We're going to make it bold and make it a little bit bigger, so maybe 120. Okay, that's pretty good. We're going to come down here to the stroke. I'm going to turn the stroke black by clicking either the top left or right corner, and we're going to make this be 1 instead of 4. And then I'm going to go down to the shadow, and we're going to make this also black instead of kind of charcoal gray. And then we're going to go down to our shadow controls, and we're going to make it be 100% opaque. And I think the rest of it's okay. Let's click off of it so we can get an idea. Let's go back to our move tool here. Okay, so that's pretty good. Let's make this stroke a little tiny bit thicker. So let's select it again here. Go to our stroke and let's make our stroke 2. Let's make it a little more visible. Okay, go back to our move tool. Okay, that looks a little better. Okay, so now we're just going to put this down here in the bottom. Okay, so that's now what we're going to do here is we're going to park our playhead inside the first clip here, and we'll just hit the down arrow key, making sure that V1 and V2 are both activated, otherwise it won't make a cut here. And we're just going to do Command K. On Windows it's Alt K, then the down arrow key, and Alt K. Control K. Down arrow key. Down arrow key. That's Control K. It's Command K on the Mac. I just keep hitting the down arrow key to jump to the next cut point, and then it's Control key on Windows and Command K on Mac, and that adds a cut, making each one of these its own individual graphic, but with the same font and the same attributes applied to the font. Now let's save, Control S, Command S. Okay, now this one's fine. This is fine. Now this next one is Busy Campus. So let's double click. We can double click here and type Busy campus. And get the move tool, and we're going to put this up to the top, toward the top of the screen. Just center it up. Okay, this next one is getting answers, so we can just double click here. Getting answers. And we'll center this at the bottom. Remember to switch to the move tool so you don't make another text layer. Okay, let's go to the next one. This one is best friends, so double click. Okay, so let's go back here and center it up. And the next one is Panther Sports. And back to the move tool. And the next one is dining style. And move tool again. And then this one is a quieter FIU. Get the move tool again. Let's put this up here. And the next one is cutting edge tech. Okay, and the next one is always studying. Correct the spelling there. And get the move tool. Center it up. Next one is the big picture. So the move tool again. I'll slide this one over into this more open area. And this is mission accomplished. And this last one is Panther Pride. Okay, get the move tool and center this one up. Okay, let's save, Command S. Okay, now we're going to apply the moves to these. So we're going to click the first one on the timeline, hold down Shift and every other one. And we're going to go to our effects and our presets, and we're going to take the left to right slide and drop it on here. And then click on nothing selected. And click on the second one and hold down Shift, every other one. And our right to left slide. And save, Command S. Now we can lock this track. And we're going to bring in the music. So let's go back to the project window. And we're going to, well, let's apply the effects first. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to unlock the bottom track. Okay, on Mac, you got to hold down the Command key. On Windows, you hold down the Control key and put your mouse down here at the end. Hold down the Control or the Command key, and just drag, and you notice it'll select all of the edit points here. Okay, now there we go. Okay, and then we're going to go to our effects, and we're going to type whip, and we're going to take the whip effect, and we're going to right click it, and we're going to set it as the default transition, and that allows us to use a keyboard shortcut, which is Control D or Command D on Mac. So that puts whip transitions on that. Now we're going to lock that track and lock this track and unlock the graphic track, and again hold down Command or Control, and all the way from the end we're going to slide and select all of those. Okay. And then this is already the default transition, so Control D or Command D on the Mac. Okay, and then let's save. And we're just going to do one thing different here. We're just going to unlock these both tracks, and we're going to replace the beginning graphic here, the beginning transition here. So we're just going to right click here, and we're going to go here, and we're going to go cross, type the cross dissolve. And we're going to right click and change it to this default transition. And then we're going to right click here, and we're going to right click on this one here and clear that effect, and then go back and apply default transition, and then click on this one and clear that, because that's the whip pan effect and default transition here. Let's do the same thing at the end. Let's clear that one, and then set the default transition, which is now the cross dissolve. Okay, let's just play this and make sure that's what we're getting here. Nice fade out. Okay, save. Now let's lock both these tracks. Let's go all the way to the beginning and mark in. We're going to put in the audio and go to the end, just past the end, and then hit the up arrow key and mark out. And let's go get the music. So let's go back to the project window. Let's double click Popstar. Now we're going to take the playhead all the way to the beginning, and then we're going to grab this little ring here, the O here. See the O I'm touching? And zoom all the way in until we can see that there's some blank space here. So we're going to take the playhead, move it in to where it's actually starting, where the actual music is starting right here, and mark an endpoint, I. And then we're going to come down here and make sure that A1 is going to A1. Okay, we can turn off these other ones, we don't need them. Okay, so it's only going on A1, and then we just hit the period key, and the music's in there. So let's Command S and save, and let's right click on the end of the music and apply the default transition, which should be a 3-second fade out we set at the beginning of the project. Okay, now let's play it and watch the levels. We don't want it to go up or be bouncing off a 0 here, so let's check it out. And it's pretty close to 0, so I'm going to go to Essential Sound here, and the music's already selected here. I'm going to say it's music, and I'm going to tell it to be balanced background music. Okay, so let's see the levels now. And it's slightly low, so I'm going to right click on it and go to gain, and I'm going to bring it up 4 dB plus 4. I'm pretty comfortable with that. Let's save. And the last thing that we're going to do, let's play it back and take a quick look at it, make sure everything's going right. All right, looking good. So let's export it. So just click here. It's going to open up the dialog box. I'm going to click here. Now we've already named it correctly, so it's already your name, Y-O-U, your name slideshow. Okay, let's make sure we're going to the right spot here. So we're going to go to downloads and FIU tutorials and ICA projects, and then down to slideshow, practice with Premiere. So that's what we're going to do it. So it's your name, slideshow, save. Now that just told it where to be named, what to be named, and where to go. It's match sort, adaptive high bit rate, and export. So now you just go out to your hard drive and check it, make sure it's all playing back correctly, and then upload it to Canvas, and you're done.